Hello and welcome to today's video. My name's Haley and we're going to be going over the gift state of understanding within this fourth gene key of a universal panacea. And I'm gonna be real with you guys, today I'm like really tired. So I actually had to force myself to sit down and make this, but we're doing it. Here we are. I'm definitely not vibrating at this gift frequency right now, but that's okay. Part of the vibe of this channel also is just showing up how I am. And today this is what you get. You also get some pink nails. I painted over that horrific tint that was left from that workshop I did the other day. I did an indigo dyeing workshop the other day, by the way. So my fingernails, if you've noticed the past few videos, are very like, so I decided to paint them. But yes, I have pink nails and I'm a little tired, so I'm gonna do my best here. He titles this section Quantum Koans. So I don't know about you, but I did not personally know what a koan was. I had to ask a friend. We're going to get into that in a little bit later into this video. But I like the way it sounds, quantum koans. It sounds very futuristic to me for some reason. Or like alienistic. I don't know if that's a word. It sounds very alien to me. He starts off by saying that if you're someone with powerful intellectual capacities, in other words, if you're school smart, this gift is going to provide a breath of fresh air for you. And what does that metaphor really mean? A breath of fresh air is relief, is new, novel, exciting, relaxing. Finally. So if you're someone who is very intellectual, school smart, airy, always in the head, philosophical, this gift is going to be quite literally a gift to you. He starts, well, sorry, he doesn't start. That is what he started with. He goes on to define the word knowledge. And Richard Rudd's definition of knowledge is what your mind thinks it needs in order to take away its permanent feelings of unease. Oh, that's interesting. So, again, this is Richard Rudd's take on this concept, on understanding, on knowledge, on everything. I personally don't define knowledge that way, but for the sake of understanding this passage, I decided to retire my definition of knowledge and adopt his in the context of reading this chapter, because it actually does make sense what he's saying here. So whether you who's watching this agrees with this definition or not, enlighten the fact that throughout this chapter, his definition is perfect for what he's writing about. So in this chapter, he defines knowledge is what your mind thinks it needs in order to take away its permanent feelings of unease. Okay, so in that context, once again, knowledge would be something like checking the door twice before you go to bed. Oh, I have the gnosis, I have the awareness that the door is definitely locked, so now I can sleep safe. Now my feelings of unease if someone's gonna come in the middle of the night are gone because I know, because I checked twice. Okay, in that case, knowledge could be, well, you know, I'm gonna go on a date with this guy and a few of my other friends know him and they say he's a good guy and he's all these good traits. So I have the knowledge, I have the now security and safety within my mind and body, and so I feel safe. It takes away my feelings of unease. That could be another form of knowledge. Another form of knowledge could be, oh, well, I did all the equations 40 times, I checked them. Gary, my other scientist friend, he also checked them, and yeah, we know for certain this formula is perfect and the medicine it's going to create is definitely going to work. It's going to take away all our feelings of unease that this product we're making, there's just no possibility in the field that it couldn't work because we've checked it. So knowledge can be all of these kinds of things. Once again, anything that your mind thinks it needs to know in order to take away feelings of unease, feelings of unsafety, feelings of insecurity. Anything that can make you do that, anything that can make you go, is knowledge. Knowledge. But Richard Rudd says This gift of understanding actually has nothing to do with knowledge. Okay, so understanding and knowledge are not linked. And the reason for this, he says, is because knowledge, whether you checked the door twice, checked the equation twice, asked all your friends about the guy you're about to date, knowledge can never actually bring a sense of peace. It can bring an illusion of peace and serve it to you on a silver platter. But true peace, true foundational peace, it cannot actually bring. It can, once again, trick your mind into thinking you're safe or secure. But the formula could technically still fail. The guy you go on the date with could disappoint you, or someone could break into the house a different way. So this gift of understanding has actually nothing whatsoever to do with knowledge. And once again, this form of knowledge he's talking about is a complete illusion. It's an illusion of safety. True safety has nothing to do with any of this double checking or facts or logical thinking or analysis. He says that actually, this form of knowledge actually sustains your intellectual quest and keeps you within the confines of the shadow frequency. That's interesting. There's my favorite word again, interesting. Yes, because, and the reason it keeps you in the confines of the shadow is because an individual, if they start to invest in this form of knowledge and they think it's working, they think this illusion of knowledge is providing security, they're going to stay locked into that frequency state of using the mind to double check, to analyze, to provide security. When in reality, security is not cultivated that way. And one day reality will reveal itself to you and your life will fall apart because you'll realize all the ways in which you've ever sought security were illusory. And that spurs an awakening. Okay, so that's great. We learned that this gift frequency of understanding has nothing to do with knowledge. Collecting facts provides false security. Now what, Richard Rudd? Because I'm reading this, I'm like, okay, I thought we were reading the gift state. I feel like I'm getting a lot of kind of just shadow frequency in this first paragraph of this chapter. And then he lays it on us. He says, only true understanding can bring peace. Because true understanding lies outside the domain of the mind. All right. True understanding lies outside of the domain of the mind. So if it's not in the mind, it must be, guess where? This thing, this good old heart. He says understanding is of the whole being. The whole being. So the whole being being the body and the mind. The subconscious and the conscious mind. True understanding lies outside of the domain of the mind. So it's a nice little fun fact there. And once again, this brought me to, okay, that's nice, Richard Rudd. I like that. That's cool. But if it's not within the mind, that true understanding, true knowledge, not this knowledge he's talking about earlier, is not within the mind, then I'm assuming it's in the heart, but can you elaborate? Can you help me understand this, ironically enough, Richard Rudd? That's kind of where he left me. And he says, the very desperation of the mind to come to understanding through knowledge, even me here saying, I don't understand, help me understand, my mind can't compute, like this beggar. He says, this very desperation is what constantly thwarts itself by looking at life from every conceivable angle. So even as I sat here reading this chapter, trying to understand the gift of understanding, I'm analyzing it from different points. Oh, I don't get it from this point, from this point, from this point. I'm asking all these questions. Instead of, it dawned on me in a moment, I'm looking at this from fragmented viewpoints. To truly understand, he said it earlier, it needs to be the whole being. It needs to be looked at holistically, understood holistically. And so ironically enough, it's this picking apart and questioning that further drags a person into misunderstanding or into the shadow state of intolerance. So it's a paradox. The more one tries to understand, the less they understand. I think there's a cliche that goes, the more I know, the less I know. It's something like that. The more I learn, the less I know. I think that's it. Cliches are true and quite paradoxical at points. And that leads us into what a koan is, which is the name of this chapter, right? A quantum koan. A koan is a paradox given to the mind to solve. And at the precise moment when the mind has finally realized that its own logic can never solve the koan, understanding dawns. And this is kind of what happened to me as I was reading this chapter. Oh, I just dropped my pen. But yes, this is what happened to me when I was reading this chapter. I'm trying to understand it, ask all these questions, and then it hit me. Oh shit, I'm never gonna understand it because I'm trying to pick it apart in order to understand it. And it was my surrendering of trying to understand it that helped me understand it. And right now, usually I would say, hopefully that makes sense, except it's not supposed to make sense. That's the whole point. It is a quantum koan. It is a paradox. This gift of understanding is a paradox. And paradoxes make you laugh, in my opinion. They make you feel light and fluffy and silly and just like, whatever. Surrendered. True understanding, which is a feeling of knowing that floods your whole body and radiates from the solar plexus area. And once again, for me personally, this feeling of understanding manifested as laughter, as, silly me, trying to understanding. It made me feel light, and I can't say I necessarily felt it emanate from a certain specific spot in my body, like he's saying here, the solar plexus area. But for me, it manifested as laughter and relaxation throughout the entire body. And he says this gift must only come about through the exhaustion of your mind rather than any other way. And that's true. Gosh, I can't tell you guys how many times I reread this chapter and I was like, what? Huh? I don't understand. I don't understand understanding. And it wasn't until I was like, this, that it dawned on me, and then I kind of laughed at the book. And I think this is interesting because this also correlates to so many different aspects of my life. Even my healing journey. I didn't really truly start to heal till I was just so exhausted with trying all the different things and diets and acupunctures and whatever. It wasn't until I just got exhausted. And so you who's watching this can ask yourself, maybe reflect on a time in which you've been trying to solve a certain problem. Maybe it's a relational issue between you and a partner, or you've been trying to figure out that issue at work, or you've been trying to figure out how to make the numbers work so you can budget your vacation. And in a moment of pure exhaustion, you just surrender and you fall into this quantum koan, this paradox, this gift of understanding, and relief comes over you. Lightness comes into you. Radiance exudes from you. I think it's so important to reflect on the points in which we have experienced these gift frequencies, because what you put your attention towards, you put your energy towards, and reflecting on points in which you are able to receive this divine guidance of the gift of understanding will ignite more of that gift of understanding within your own experience. And that's a beautiful thing. Nothing can ultimately be proved through logic. Here's another just fireball. He says, the mind is of no use for resolving anything of real importance. Of real importance. Anything of real importance, the mind can't really help you with. So you might as well just get exhausted and lay it down, essentially, is what he's saying here. But once again, exhaustion only comes upon a person when a person's exhausted. You can't force exhaustion. That's the other kind of paradoxical thing about this. It's almost like you can't attain the gift of understanding. It attains you when you're truly ready to receive it, when you're truly exhausted, open, and surrendered. And he says, once you come into this gift of understanding, once you finally are exhausted, surrender, open up to this frequency of lightness, he says the mind is finally released to do what it actually needs to do. Because this whole time, throughout all these lifetimes, we've all been using the mind for the wrong thing. And finally, when you fall into surrender, the mind can do what it loves to do best: research, communicate, and play. We talked about this in the last video. All human relationship is built upon the foundation of communication. This aspect of play was talked about in a past 𝖍𝖎𝖓𝖐 number 3, how important it is to see life through the eyes of a child and just play. And then this new aspect of research comes into our awareness within this 𝖍𝖎𝖓𝖐. This is what the mind loves to do and what it's meant to do and what it's best at. Research, communicate, and play. Because now you've been freed from trying to resolve your existence. Trying to figure out every single thing in your life. Well, I'm being lived, so now I have all this free mental energy. What should I think about? Who should I communicate to and tell them I love them? What should I play with because I got some playtime? What should I research just for fun? It's a very freeing state to be in this gift of understanding. You also have no need to defend your viewpoint anymore because there's no need for argumentation. That's another huge amount of energy being liberated in order for you to use it for creation. Here is the part that I love most within this 𝖍𝖎𝖓𝖐. He says, this gift of understanding also brings the urge to be of service. So it's igniting you into a higher version of yourself, a version that is service to others, not just service to self. And there's an urgency here to be of service. It's not just like, oh, who wants some help? It's, no, I have to help someone. I have a fire within me to help someone, and I am going to help someone today. It's a really beautiful, passionate energy. It's a lot of energy. I think that's the most important thing. Not only are you not depleting your energy anymore by utilizing your mind for the wrong thing, you're gaining back that energy, and you're now receiving the energy, the urgency to be of service. Like a little Energizer bunny of love. Which is super awesome and super powerful. So a person embodied within this gift frequency starts to look how they can improve society. Look how they can elevate the hearts of those around them. Looks to make people smile, is eager to give attention, love, presence, money, service, letters, whatever it is, whatever your form of giving is. And it's a dynamic energy. This gift has a lot of energy. And so then we get a little woo-woo here. Richard Rudd's a little woo-woo, which I like a little woo-woo. Once again, if you're watching this and you're like, I don't know about that, that's fine. Take what resonates, leave the rest. By no means am I right, is Richard Rudd right. But he does go a little woo-woo here on us, and he talks about how much later in this series, when we get to the 55th gene key, there is a lot of information there. That would probably be the most woo-woo gene key. He says a little prelude about the 55th gene key. He says there's a genetic mutation upon us. It's coming, and it's going to bring about an important genetic mutation associated with the amino acid valine. And this genetic mutation is going to phase us out of the shadow of intolerance and unite all of us collectively into this gift state of understanding. He says that the children coming into this world with this new sequence of mutations are going to be sedimented within this gift frequency, therefore already naturally wanting to serve, looking to help, looking to love. And he talks about how this is going to start a social revolution, because the kids being born into this frequency are going to see right through the youthful folly, the intolerance, and go right into service. Right into true understanding, true gnosis. They'll be using their minds in the way their minds are meant to be used. They will be using their minds. They won't be letting their minds use them. And with this will come technological breakthroughs, which will solve long-standing problems instead of creating new ones. And that sounds pretty awesome. So, yes, it's a little woo-woo to say all that, but hey, I like the way that sounds, and I'm open to experiencing that. So that's how I felt about when I read that. I was like, okay, let's see, I'm down. I mean, why not? Why not be open to the possibility of this happening to us as a collective? So that is all for this video today, and stay tuned tomorrow for the city-state. Hey guys, thanks again for tuning in with me for this Gene Keys episode. I also just wanted to come on here and start promoting my one-to-one coaching that I offer to women and girls ages 16 to 35. If you've followed me on Instagram for a while, you might be a little bit familiar with my story. I was a model in New York City for 5 years, and in that time frame, I did quite some damage. I developed a really severe eating disorder, body dysmorphia, chronic anxiety. Oh my gosh, I couldn't even go out to dinner without thinking about how much calories, how much I'd have to overwork out in order to compensate for what I was eating. All of those issues led to quite a depression and turned into PCOS, and I also lost my menstrual cycle for over 5 years. All of this amalgamation of issues led me to soon realize that something needed to change. I went through much work. Many people helped me to get to where I am now. And I'm so thrilled to say I'm living such a more abundant life, and I don't feel zapped and drained and fear of judgment anymore like I used to. I would love to offer what I've learned through my own embodied experience, the meditative techniques that have gravitated toward me, and the own verified games that I've made up and curated to help you walk home to more of you and who you really are, so that all of these things can stop draining your energy. You know, all the constant comparison to others and to your people on Instagram, all the over-analysis about working out and what you're eating or what you look like. All of these things are not what life's about, as cheesy as it sounds. And I would love to help you come into more unity with you if you struggle with any of these things and you're a woman or girl between the ages of 16 and 35. So feel free to reach out to me if one-on-one coaching sounds resonant. You can feel free to DM me through Instagram or contact me via email, both of which will be left below in the description box. So much love and aloha to you guys, and I'll see you all in the next video.